Hey, what's up, Steelers Nation? I'm Tyler Feldman. It is Monday Night Football coming up for the Steelers. The 7-6 Steelers taking on the 6-7 Miami Dolphins.
And I'm Wayne Gandy, former Steelers offensive tackle. Let's go! Hey, Ben, turn down the temperature. Get it real cold.
Yeah, that's dang right, Wayne. And I'm Ben Bobick. You know what? I hate to take it off topic here from the Steelers, but I always knew that Kenny Pickett will be starting football games in the month of December. The Steelers Squad Show on the Locked On Podcast Network starts now.
Wave those terrible towels. It's the Steelers Squad. Everything Pittsburgh Steelers every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Steel City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the steel curtain to the next generation, the Steelers Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. And that is how you start a show off. Wayne Gandy bringing the energy on a Wednesday night. So happy you're with us here on the Steelers Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now the number one sports podcast network. How about that? Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets. Your host, Tyler Feldman, Pittsburgh native, fellow Pittsburgh native, Ben Bobick, the sports anchor down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Happy to be joined by the 15-year NFL veteran, Wayne Gandy. And gentlemen, what a glorious week this is for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Monday Night Football, primetime, Acrisure Stadium, I guess technically next week, but still part of this week of the NFL season. And Wayne, I hear you're traveling to Pittsburgh. Joey Porter Sr. getting inducted into the Steelers Hall of Honor, and you're going to be there to witness.
Yeah, I can't wait. Something he asked me to come to a couple of weeks ago, and I came in as a free agent in '99. Joey got drafted that year, and we just were able to kindle a friendship. We're fire and ice, definitely. He is the fire, and I am the ice. But the positions kind of dictate that. You know, I'm an offensive lineman. He's a high energy outside linebacker, hybrid DN, and it's just so much love between us. When I first got there, he used to cut my hair. A lot of people don't know that. I would go over to the Allegheny Center and to his apartment. He cut my hair. I didn't know any barbers, and he said he knew how to cut hair. So we came up with the creation of the boot and all that. You know, hey, what can I call it? And I'm like, well, you got to dedicate yourself now. When you make a play, you can't get up and forget. And he was like, okay, OG, I got you. But couldn't be prouder of a young man who really came in and, as much energy and outward energy he gives people. He was like a sponge, and I was just, you're 6 then, but he came in and he was just a guy that as much fire he brought to the field, he would listen. He wanted to have a big career. He wanted to be in the name, up there with the Ray Lewises and stuff like that. So that kind of just fit into how the Steeler way really went. Him and Jason Gilden, what a combination they made there for a couple of years. You had to pick your poison. So great opportunity. Love coming to Pittsburgh. Only a short visit. I won't get to go to the game because I got some other high school stuff to do to finish here in Georgia. But can't wait to see Joey and proud of him going into the Ring of Honor.
Joey Porter Sr., part of the Hall of Honor class of 2025, and he'll be joined in that class by center Marquise Pouncey and quarterback, you may have heard of this guy, Ben Roethlisberger. So that's going to be a really fun Monday night at Acrisure Stadium. Ben, any fond memories of Joey Porter? Because for me, it's the energy. That was just a different era of Steeler football. Larry Foote, Joey Porter, Alan Faneca, Troy Polamalu. I mean, these are the guys that we grew up idolizing growing up in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Joey Porter, I had his jersey growing up, man. I remember I had the black 55, man. I love Peasy. He was one of my favorite players. And how could you not, the way he played? And I always loved, growing up, and they'd always, and this was like before, I think it was before that CBS did the first on the field, because I don't know when they implemented the first on the field, where they would go 10 minutes early to the games, but they would always have to cut to the Steelers game, because I always loved when they would show Joey Porter at 50-yard line with his tummy out, chirping the other team. Like, we got to cut to the Steelers game. Joey Porter's he's fired up for this one, and it was always a divisional game. And I loved hearing that Wayne Gandy was a part of the infamous boot celebration, because the amount of times I did that in the backyard growing up, shoot, I still do it sometimes. If I do, not even in the backyard as a kid, if I do something, I think about it, man. I love that celebration and Joey Porter doing that, man. He's just one of those guys that you think about, like you mentioned, Tyler, just these icons with the Steelers that we had a chance, that we were blessed to grow up watching play and teach us about the game, teach us about the Steelers way. And I always think about that Super Bowl run, man, they made in 2005. He was such a big part of that football team. But yeah, man, I had a couple of jerseys growing up, but Joey Porter was one of them, dude. I'm excited that he's getting his flowers this week, and obviously along with Marquise and Big Ben, which are two obvious picks. But you think about those two guys, you think about Pro Football Hall of Famers. Joey Porter is a Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Honor guy, in a first ballot one at that, because he's one that means a lot to a lot of people. I love seeing his son. Obviously, a deeper connection with him, being that he's a fellow Penn Stater. But I love when they announce him coming out, and he does the celebration too when the defense gets the introductions. I just love seeing that legacy move on and continue. But I love it for Peasy, man. He's so many. There's almost too many fun memories to count.
We could take a lot of time going down memory lane.
We could stay here a long time. Just on Joey, we could stay here a long time.
Well, Wayne, let's stay here a little longer. What is one of your favorite memories outside of him cutting your hair, the boot celebration on the field? What is a play or a moment that stands out to you that says, you know what, that was Joey Porter Sr. to a T?
Well, Ben just mentioned it. The first thing, that hits me out on the field is sitting in your locker getting dressed, and somebody runs back in and tells you Joey had started a fight at the 50-yard line with whoever the other team's most talkative player. It's a guy that you didn't even know loved to talk, but he would go out there early. It would get back to the locker room. You might go out there mid-dress, just run out on the field, because, that was the tempo setter. He was the guy, he was the attitude that really we thrived on. And it was so many moments, that kind of energy carried you through to perform. So Peasy is just a part of my whole Steeler time and a great part of it.
And it's awesome that you'll be there, Wayne, on Monday night to celebrate your former teammate. Hopefully there will be a win to celebrate as well. The Steelers tend to do pretty well Monday Night Football on their home turf. Big question mark, though, is the injuries, right? DK Metcalf left that game last week. He got hit in the abdomen or stomach during the game. Mike Tomlin saying on Tuesday that he's moving in the right direction. Still kind of up in the air if we'll see DK Metcalf, but he had a career for the Steelers. His Steelers career, he had a season-best game, 148-yard performance against the Ravens, and that's what we expected to see out of DK consistently this season. You bring in Adam Thielen. He only had one catch for 4 yards, but he distracted that secondary enough that allowed DK to get open. Wayne, how integral is DK healthy enough to play down the stretch, especially starting Monday night against a really red-hot Dolphins team that has rolled off 4 straight wins?
Yeah, we're talking about 4 weeks to go in the season, so everybody got something they're nursing and trying to pull through the rest of this regular season with DK. And like you said, Adam Thielen now is in the mix. Valdez-Scantling is in the mix. But, it's a late game, gave him that extra day of rest. I expect a big, tough guy like that to be playing Monday night. But we have other injuries, as you alluded to, Tyler, that stand out, especially along that offensive line. We got like three
Derek
or four
Harmon?
guys. Yeah.
Will we see Derek Harmon?
3 or 4 guys with concussions that we got to wait and see that really are important for what I feel like the Steelers need to be able to do Monday night with Washington and Pettis. Did I say that right? The left tackle that's been in there for Broderick Jones, Andrew Pettis. I think DK brings that big playability, and it's something that we've all been waiting for to see more consistently. After last week's game, that's the thing. He's been up and down, and I think if we can get 2 or 3 games out of him in a row, the kind of game he had the other night, that's what we need in that receiving core. Some explosive down the field.
Darnell Washington, concussion protocol. Derek Harmon's missed the last couple games with the knee sprain. Ben, to Wayne's point, maybe who's the biggest guy you need in this game Monday night? Is it DK? Would it be great to have Derek Harmon back? What about on that offensive line? What do you see as the biggest key health position going into this matchup?
Another guy, too, that missed last game, Kyle Duggar. I mean, obviously, the secondary played pretty well against the Ravens, so you don't think about it as too much, particularly Brennan Eccles and James Pierre had the interception and Jalen Ramsey did his thing and whatnot. But Kyle Duggar's been a big part, at least when it comes to a lot of what they're doing. I think Coach T said he's trending in that right direction. So getting him back would obviously be a major plus. But honestly, to be quite frank, they were able to mask it this past Sunday, but I think Derek Harmon's got to be one of the bigger names you want to see back. He's been such a big part of their run stopping ability. And I think this is a game against Miami who's had some success running the football. If they're able to stop that run, I'm not so sure that Tua Tagovailoa can turn it on and dice up the Steelers the way maybe some other quarterbacks can in the NFL, especially when you take into account the environment. The cold, like Wayne's been saying, turn that temperature down, and also, just being at home on Monday night. Derek Harmon's having really a solid rookie season for the Steelers. He's been everything they wanted, and maybe even and then some, because you have to think he's only a rookie. You hope that it only gets better. And I think not only just having him in there for the run stopping, just him in general making plays, but he makes everyone around him a little bit better. Obviously, they're a little bit banged up on the defensive line. And I think having him in there, Y.A. Black, I think benefits from him being on the line, and some other role players as well. And I just think he's just a force there in the middle. And I think if they could stop the run against Miami, then that will be a big key. So I think getting Derek Harmon back would be big time. And that's one I'm certainly keeping an eye on because I think, they were able to get through Sunday, which was a big deal because obviously the Ravens are quite good running the football. You have 2 of the most elite runners in the world in Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and they were able to still get the win against them on the road. But you don't want to see that injury linger, and just because it's the Dolphins coming to town doesn't mean they can't run the football successfully. So I think Derek Harmon, is one guy I'd love to see back out there, especially since he missed a couple games this year.
Wayne, who would you like to most see back on the field Monday night?
Broderick Jones. And I mentioned Andrews Pete. He's held it down at the left tackle position, but I just know he's been a little banged up. I think he's in the concussion protocol. Ben talked about the game as well the other day with an ankle. So Derek Harmon coming back would even be bigger. But to me, that offensive line and this kind of game Monday night, is cold. The ball is different, and you can say what you want, 41-year-old, 42-year-old Bones. I can just see Aaron Rodgers over there trying to keep warm, looking at the clock like, wow, why do we have to schedule this late?
Hey, he knew what he was signing up for.
So, and the run game after last week, I just think that, you can – fortunately, we got the big play. We got some turnovers, but I think the run game and the backs have been doing a great job being able to catch the ball and show that diversity, because some days the run game does not click. That is true. And you have to find other ways to move the ball. The Steelers being able to get into that passing game. So, but the offensive line, Broderick Jones, I don't know where he is. Is it an IR thing?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe he's on IR. Yeah.
So that makes Pete and the concussion protocol even bigger looming right now, because you start now maybe having to move different guys around to compensate, where you already are missing Broderick and you're possibly going to miss Pete and Darnell Washington. So that's kind of your run game kind of missing right there.
And I guess luckily, and it's unfortunate, you never want to see injuries, but at least at the tight end position, you've got a deep room. Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, who's maybe getting underutilized a little bit. He's fifth on the team in catches, so that's a whole nother conversation. Christopher Carter actually talked about that on one of his episodes on the Locked On Steelers Daily podcast this week. But that's the first quarter. Ding, ding, ding. We heard it go off. We have 3 more quarters to go here on this Wednesday night, Monday night preview edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. Still to come, we'll dive into Wayne's World and take a closer look at that offensive line. Plus, how can the Steelers defense stop this streaking Dolphins team? They are red hot. That's all next right here on the Steelers Squad Show. You know, there's no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, especially during the holidays. Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans are 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it to the full Scrooge treatment. And what makes this even better is how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. Switching to Mint lets you keep your same coverage for a lower price. Setup takes only 2 minutes. You can bring your own phone number and keep that number without any issues. The service is fast and super reliable, even on the go, and it feels good knowing you're overpaying just to stay connected. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required. $15 a month equivalent, taxes and fees, initial plan term only, greater than 35 gigabytes, may slow when network is busy, capable device required, availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Back here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show, second quarter about to get underway. I'm Tyler Feldman, and so happy to be joined as always by Wayne Gandy, the former Steelers offensive lineman, as well as sports anchor and future mayor of Pittsburgh, Ben Bobick. We're giving Ben a platform before he knows he'll be running things in the great city of Pittsburgh. The Steelers will have a great Monday night, hopefully. Hall of Honor, Big Ben, Pouncey, Joey Porter, Wayne Gandy will be there as well. So if you see Wayne, say what up. Say, we love the Locked On Steelers Squad Show, because that's what we want to hear, and hopefully you're enjoying this. Hey, let's talk about this Miami matchup on Monday night. They started the season 1-6. They are now 6-7. Everyone thought Cool Mike down there was going to be fired a little bit early on in this season. And now the Dolphins are looking good. Wayne, what scares you? Better than what they started. I wouldn't describe Miami as a team that scares any opponent, but what worries you the most for the Steelers going into this matchup?
That right there, Tyler, what you just said, the Steelers having any thought that they can overlook the Dolphins. Right now, that's the team you need to beat. They don't need to be looking at the Lions. They don't need to be looking at later in the year taking on the Ravens again. Right now, here's a game that will put you in such a great position. You can lead, because you already know the results from Sunday when you go into this game. So you will have the advantage of knowing a real nail can go into the coffin that you could find yourself in it. The best thing the Steelers can do is find themselves in week 18 in that last game, not needing to win it. And how do you do that? You start with beating the Dolphins right here. It's a team that, yes, they went up to the Jets and they're on a 4-game winning streak. Three of those teams are the Commanders, the Jets, and the Saints. I'm not knocking because I know that in football, there is no idea that, it's an easy win. But the competition has been equal to the Dolphins and teams that the Dolphins should be able to win. That's what the Steelers need to do here with the Dolphins. You have equal now, both teams, or the Steelers is dealing with a lot of little questions as far as injuries, but this offensive line is key in this game, and that's going to be determined by the health. If we have to put Spencer Anderson in there at left tackle, then that's going to take the advantage that we've seen he gives us in the running game when he's able to play that tight end position and move around. So hopefully Pete get back into the lineup so we can keep moving him in that direction. But either way, we have to go out. Night game, temperatures look like they're going to be around 19, 20 degrees. Make it ugly. Put them on the ground. Cut some people. Be physical early. We all can adjust to the weather, but there is an advantage from cold when you bring a hot team, a team from a hot climate to a cold city, and vice versa. You don't want to go in the old Arizona Stadium. We went there in Pittsburgh like the second week of the season one year, and it was 93 degrees. You can't get that in Pittsburgh almost any time of the year. So we got out there. It was a slow game. So it works in the other way. You'd be surprised. And I know a lot of teams now, they move and try to have camp and get their guys adjusted. But this is the old school, lean on your offensive line, your defensive line, make guys, get up, have their jersey wet, deal with the cold, eat up some clock, and make that Dolphins offense sit over there. And, Tua, is Hawaiian guy. He couple of hits, he'll fold that tent for us, and that's why you got to start not only fast, but you got to start physical with the Dolphins.
Physical is a key word for me in this matchup. The Steelers have to bring it at home Monday night. You're going to have a lot of old-time players. I'm not calling you old, Wayne, but you're going to have a lot of special guys at Acrisure Stadium Monday night. You better deliver, and you better bring the boom. You look at this Dolphins team, though, Ben, lost to the Patriots by 6. Lost to the Bills once, but beat them the other time pretty handedly, and that started this run of 4 straight wins. I know it's Jets, Saints, Commanders, but Saints haven't been that bad recently. Lost to the Chargers by 2. Panthers by 3. I mean, they've been in some of these games, so that scares me a little bit, knowing that this Steelers team isn't invincible. How do the Steelers handle the running attack? Devon Achane in the backfield. I mean, that's a dangerous guy in this kind of temperature climate game. You got to bring it defensively and bring that physicality.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And Achane, and you mentioned, and also Jalen Wright, former Tennessee Vol, had a nice game against the Jets on Sunday. They get 100 yards rushing, so tip of the cap to him. He was great in Knoxville too for the Vols. I got a chance to see him firsthand there, and absolutely it comes because that's what you're going to want to do, because it's like Wayne mentioned, man, it's going to be very cold on Monday night, and I don't need to explain to you guys or a lot of people listening to this podcast to know what it's like. It's one thing to be very cold in the temperature wise, and then you get down there by the confluence of the 3 rivers, and it gets even chillier because you get all that wind swirling up down there, and it's a big game changer, especially for a team like Miami. Miami's going to feel real good, or like at least weather-wise, thinking about Miami come Monday night when you're out there, whether you're going to the game or you're playing in the game. But absolutely, it starts with staying aggressive, man. I love the offense came out on Sunday against the Ravens in a road environment, and they hit a deep shot first play of the game. I'm not saying they have to come out and hit a deep shot again the first play of the game on offense this Monday, but I'm saying come out and stay aggressive. Stay pedal to the metal. It just felt like there was a lot of attention to detail on the offensive side of the ball. And that's what led them to victory against Baltimore. They just kept the pedal to the metal. They were finding ways to get open on offense. They were taking what the defense was giving them. They were making the plays. Aaron Rodgers was rolling, and that's one thing you have to think about too. If we're talking weather, Aaron Rodgers is no stranger to cold weather, man. You know, he played a large part of his entire career at the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, man. He knows what it's all about up there in Green Bay. So in playing at a high level in that sort of terrain. So I just think the offense needs to stay on it, because this sets up to be sort of defensive sort of game. That cold weather, get the home crowd, got the color rush unis coming out as well.
Which
are
are great, by the way.
Yeah, right. And I just think that if they, like you mentioned, Tyler, if they could stop that run, like they've been doing, like they did on Sunday for a large portion of the game, and that puts the ball in Tua Tagovailoa's hands, I'm all about that, man. I'm all about our secondary back there taking care of business, and I'm all about our rushers getting home. This has the makings for one of those multi-turnover games, and defense sort of taking over the game, and then the offense doing what's necessary to get the win. Kind of similar to that Colts game, where I'm not saying the defense needs to force as many turnovers as they did. They may, but what I'm saying is the complementary football that we saw against Indianapolis, where the defense was creating turnovers and the offense was cashing in on those short fields, turning them into touchdowns, getting the lead, and then cruising it on out from there. Because I just want to see them not be a one-off on Sunday against Baltimore. It was I just felt like one of the more complete games that they played, and you want to see that create momentum through this month, and that includes that momentum swinging through on Monday night against the Dolphins.
It should be a fun one. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. Maybe if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, they make the call up to Troy in the booth. We see Phillip Rivers back in the league now. So, hey, age is just a number, man. You need a guy who can sling it. That's a possibility. With the Dolphins, though, matching up against the Steelers, Wayne, you've got to favor the Steelers, right? I mean, at this point in the season, you put two side by side. There's no reason Pittsburgh shouldn't win this football game, right?
Yeah, you feel like if the Steelers come to play, they'll win this game. You feel like, and when I say come to play, I mean come out, execute, and offensively not give the Dolphins the short field. You know, here's a game where it is one of those field position, make Tua have to drive the ball, 8, 10, 12 plays, as a defense, put him in a situation where he's always back there, seem like he's questioning whether to run the ball anyway. So give him that little lane, bring the pressure. Let's see if he's really willing to go out here and put himself out on the line in these kind of climates. But the physicality, when you get there, being mentioned, when you get home, you got to be able to bring him down and let him feel it early and, as they say, often. But you got to take and seize this opportunity if you're the Steelers. Out of the last 4 games, if you were going to say, here's 2, this is one of the 2 you were going to win, or, one of the 3 you were going to win. Here it is, one of the games at home in the temperature that you would love. And I don't care that they did it in New York with the Jets last week. And let's see if they can do it again on the road in Pittsburgh.
The key, Ben, is stopping the run if you're the Steelers defense. But when is this running attack for the Steelers going to get going? 8 carries, 13 rushing yards for Jaylen Warren. Yeah, he had 3 catches. He had that nice touchdown. But I feel like we've been waiting for the running game to get going, and it's just never come to fruition. How does that change Monday night?
Yeah, I think it changes by staying aggressive. I really do, because I know a lot of people look at it and think like, wow, well, they didn't run the ball too well on Sunday. But I'm like, yeah, but the offense they'll move the ball when they needed to. They still put up points. They were being aggressive on offense. They were taking their shots down the field. They were taking what the defense was giving them. Like Chris mentioned in our post-game show there, the Ravens came out and said, listen, we're going to come up and stop you from running the ball. We're not going to give you the intermediate passes. We're going to dare you to try to hit those deep shots. And the Steelers were able to connect on a few of them, and it ultimately opened some things up for them. I think with it, like we talked a little bit about it throughout the season, about maybe the pass game opening up the rushing attack a little bit. I'm not too worried about the rushing game, the running game, if you will, because I love seeing that from the offense. It just seemed like they gave the keys to Aaron Rodgers finally and said, listen, let's just do this thing. Let's open it up. There was more. It just felt like there was more attention to detail the receivers and from everybody involved. And everybody felt like they were on the same page. Everybody knew where the shots were going to be taken. Granted, Aaron Rodgers was on his game on Sunday, man. A couple of those throws he had, particularly a couple of those deep shots were vintage Aaron Rodgers throws, man. They were in a bucket on the money and the receivers, but the receivers still have to go make that play. I mean, a couple of those, the one catch by DK Metcalf down the field, man, was against his shoulder pad there. That's a heck of a grab, man. That's elite level receiving. So I just think that it just needs to start complementing each other maybe a little bit more. I think it just taking what the defense is going to give you. If they come out on Monday and the Dolphins are like, we're not going to let you run on, we're going to dare you to take the deep shots again. We'll hit on a few of them. And if they back off, that's where I feel like you can start gashing them a bit with the run game. And it's just all about what the defense is going to do to try to stop you. And I think that's the one thing that the Steelers can't do. They can't be that sort of one-dimensional team of, like last year they got in that that's why I feel like they got down in the thick of it. It was either just Russell Wilson chucking it down the field or they were just dumping everything off. There was no fluidity to the offense. At least this year, you need a little bit of fluidity, if you will, and they're able to beat you in different ways. And I think that's what Aaron Rodgers offers you, and that's certainly something I think will help the run game. Where if they get up and they're able to hit on a few pass plays, maybe get them where they aren't, and then maybe it'll open some things up.
Let's continue this conversation, this topic, after the break. We've hit halftime here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. When we come back, we'll get Wayne's thoughts on that rushing attack against the Ravens. Yeah, to Ben's point, they were moving offensively. 34 pass attempts, just 17 rushing attempts. You look at the Ravens, they had 40 rushes against the Steelers. So again, are they abandoning the run? Is it just not working? We'll discuss when we come back here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. But first, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So, with that in mind, as I get the FanDuel lower third on the screen for you, for those viewers watching, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, second half about to kick off here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. Third quarter, Ben Bobick, Wayne Gandy. I'm Tyler Feldman. So happy you're with us here on this Wednesday night, previewing this Monday night matchup between the 6-7 Miami Dolphins and the first place 7-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. Before the break, we were talking about how the running attack for the Pittsburgh Steelers can be rejuvenated. Wayne, I want to hear your thoughts on how the rushing attack against the Dolphins can maybe rediscover themselves Monday night.
Well, I believe that the running game is still there. I think that the expectation of the running game, sometimes we like to believe they can do more. But I've been one of those guys that's been saying, well, wow, I'm just looking as a team total. If I can get 100 yards as a team, that's a great output. It's not like we have Saquon Barkley back there or guys where you can just instantly mark as someone who is having off numbers. The two guys we have are very capable, playing with a lot of passion when they do get their opportunities. I don't feel when I watch them that it has anything to be about them being engaged. They're trying to run over people when they get the ball in their hands. If anything, the offense just doesn't seem to have a flow of who and how it's going to work. It seems like a lot of box of chocolate kind of offense a lot of times. Nothing has really been decided of which way we're going to do this. And that's why a guy like a Pat Firemuth can go 3 or 4 games and you'd think he was on IR because Arthur Smith and his offense, sometimes you got a lot of weapons. You got a guy that can manage those weapons. You got DK. You're bringing in guys like Thielen. You got, 4 tight ends. Jonnu Smith, the numbers that he could put it on if he was a main target. So it's a mixture, but the run game to me is significant as far as establishing the physicality. As an offensive lineman, you don't want to get into that. We're just going to be dropped back and passing. It softens you up. It makes you a softer player. You never get to attack. And a lot of success in sports is wearing people down. You want to get out there and, as you said, be physical, get annoying, be able to fall on people, trip on people, all that, and that's just part of it. It's just wearing down physically and mentally. And that doesn't particularly happen when you have a lot of passing plays, especially incomplete passes. The ball's just on the ground. Everybody walks back to the huddle. But you want guys to have to be 10, 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage, work, and just keep laying on people. And I think the line, as I said, some of it is Darnell Washington's and Pete's health will determine how much of a run game we'll be able to have. And we might have to go back, for a week to that short passing game and get the ball out on the edge to the receivers get it out quick. But I just think that if we could get back in that big boy package, that the Dolphins will be in a little trouble. The guys, to me, that they have out at the defensive end spots, they're more just I want to rush the passer kind of, guys. So this would fit right into what it would take to win.
Ben, it looks like you've been taking down notes, or there's something on your mind. Share with the audience. Share with everyone watching here tonight. What's on? I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah, as Wayne was talking, it started to come back to me a little bit of the game and how like some things that supplant that rushing attack there, and he nailed it too with the Forrest Gump line. It is like a box of chocolates, man. You really don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes they're going to run the ball ad nauseum, and sometimes they're just going to try to do things that just aren't clicking. Then sometimes you get Sunday and things work out. I think a lot of times on Sunday though, where the passing game sort of supplanted the rushing game, if you will. And what I mean by that, I remember there was a couple times where runs were called and you could see Aaron Rodgers see that DK Metcalf is one-on-one or so-and-so is one-on-one. And like Wayne mentioned, they got the ball out quick and they got 5-6 yards. Then boom, they're on schedule. So it's like, okay, whether we're getting 5 or 6 yards out there passing it one-on-one to DK real quick, or whether we're getting, trying to get 3, 5, 6 yards running the ball here, it's all about staying on schedule for this offense. That's one of their biggest cons is this offense can't get off schedule. When they're off schedule, that's when it starts to crumble. When you get the 3rd and long, that's where they're just not getting it. They're not. How often do they throw it behind the sticks on 3rd and long? And it almost seemingly like they're not even trying to get to try to make the play and or at least get to pick up the first down. And that's what's tough about this offense, and that's why it has its flaws. But staying on schedule sometimes, talk about doing what the defense gives you. Sometimes just getting the ball out quick like that. Seeing you have one-on-one coverage. Okay, I'm just going to grab my quick 5-6 yards I know I could get because I get this ball out quickly, and then go from there and check out of the run. But I think it's just important that they stay on schedule, whether that's in the run game or whether that's in the quick pass game, disciplining the run game. And I think another aspect of it too, the cherry on top to what I'm saying is these running backs, like Wayne said, it's not like they're Saquon Barkley back there or Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor, who are just elite level running backs. But what these guys are elite at is catching the ball out of the backfield, getting the ball in these guys in space and making that be a factor in your game, whether that is another portion of the run game, especially if it's quick. I mean, shoot, you saw Jaylen Warren go 38 yards for a touchdown on some broken coverage on Sunday, just on 3rd and short, just getting the ball to him in space and getting it out. I think about the 3rd and short play that they end up settling for 3 on. I mean, they called a timeout to call a play to get the ball to Kenneth Gainwell with some blockers. And if he doesn't slip, he definitely gets the first down. He might even score a touchdown. These guys are elite with the ball in their hands in space. And so I think that sort of kind of masks itself at the run game. You know, I don't think we have to continue to do these tosses in space or these different runs if they aren't working. But if the defense is giving us where they're able to get the ball out quick and we're able to get the yards we need like we would in the run game, then let's just roll with it, because I think it keeps us on schedule and that keeps us aggressive and that keeps the offense doing what they do.
And part of what will help the run game and always does is that offensive line. Let's dive into Wayne's world. Wayne, I feel like we haven't discussed or evaluated the offensive line in a handful of weeks, and that is your expertise. That is your cup of tea. That is your anti-box of chocolate. You know exactly what you're going to get when you talk offensive line, okay? What have you seen growth-wise that you like from the Steelers' offensive line? Obviously battling some injuries right now. What have you liked, and what do you think could still improve? I think the audience would love to hear from a guy who did it for 15 years where that position group is at right now.
Well, I like how the inside three are working together on their combo blocks. Frazier, McCormick, Siamalu. Inside, I think each and every game they're going to getting stronger and stronger as a group inside. If anything, out on the edge, sometimes the tackles get knocked back. You know, they scramble to get back into the play. You know, and don't, you know, they're giving as good as they get, but they're not very dominant on getting to the outside with the run game as of yet. And some of that has been a little fall off with Broderick Jones missing here the last 3 games. I think he's been out of the lineup. But I do think that the attitude, the protection has been solid for what they're trying to do. I think they're managing a whole lot of movement and chaos around them of what, you know, and being flexible to change, because it's not just changing the play, it's changing. These guys are having to change protections, work with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just up front. I think they have been growing. They kind of tapered off here the last 3 or 4 games where I haven't seen any growth. But from the first game until now, each and every week that for about 4 or 5, 6 weeks, they got better. And now it's just about, sometimes, you know, as I said, when you watch the game, you can't get a feel of what is going to be called. And that is a real holdback to the offensive line. I don't have a mentality, you know, and as you were saying, and Ben was talking about, I'm from the Jerome Bettis era. That's who was our running back. And this is how we're going to serve it. This is how you're going to like it. We're going to tell you which order in which to eat it. And you're going to say thank you at the end of this game after we do it. So
you're talking about the bus?
Yeah, that's how we would serve him up, you know, and you're just going to love it. And, you know, cry. You're still going to say thank you for feeding us this 270-pound back. We knew our game plan. Our game plan was about the 8-minute mark of the third quarter. Who wants it now? That was the approach. It was never to try to break you. If we got a couple, fine. But our idea was you don't want to tackle him. We're all going to fall on you. So I'm 300, he's 300, and he's 270. We're just going to all fall on you. And guys would start backing up. It became that kind of way. So what I'm saying with this line going up there, it's real unrhythmic. They don't really have a rhythm that they really function on as an offensive line. And so I do give them a little room for error in that, because the tempo or whatever they're trying to achieve is not always, as Ben said, they do have the magic of a quarterback that can read stuff and quickly check out without telling you. You know, he does a beautiful job of that. That's what's made him such a special guy. You know, so I got up here to run the ball. Next thing I know, the ball's out on the edge. That happens 3 or 4 times, and that's just the Aaron Rodgers. So I just think an effective run game on Monday night. And why I say that is because you got a hot team that's from a hot place, sitting around a hotel, watching the temperature just go lower. It's when you're from a hot place or a dome, night games in the cold are miserable. because when you went for your little walk through, it was 36 degrees. And then you went down to see your parents, and somebody came into the lobby and the wind hit you. And now you start realizing it's 4:00 and it's cold, man. And then it starts getting dark and you're on the bus to the game. And you get off the bus, and now it's colder, and it's just one of them things. If you get on them early, they start thinking, "Let's go home." It's one of those kind of
Man, Wayne, you're talking like you've had those thoughts before. Oh man, I think that's a really fair evaluation of the offensive line right now. Not surprised, but I also think that it's almost better when you don't feel the need to talk about the offensive line. When people are talking about the offensive line, that's typically not a great thing. So from that perspective, I'd say kudos. I mean, they've got guys in and out with injuries. So to your point, the three guys in the middle, and then, things are working themselves out, and that could be a strong point down the road for the Steelers. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Well, we'll see right after this quick break. We still have one more quarter to get to here on this Locked On Steelers Squad Show. We'll have our way too early predictions. We'll talk about the matchup, some keys to victory for the Steelers. That is next, all right here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. And we're back. Fourth quarter. Wayne Gandy, Ben Bobick. I'm Tyler Feldman. It is a Monday Night Football preview. The Steelers hosting the Dolphins at Acrisure Stadium, Week 15, and it should be a good one. The 6-7 Dolphins, 4 straight wins. The 7-6 Steelers, and the Steelers historically love, and I mean love, Monday Night Football, especially at home. According to StatMuse, the Steelers 32-10-1 all time on their home field when it comes to Monday Night Football. They have won 22 straight home Monday Night Football games dating back to 1992 against, this is according to StatMuse, their last home loss on Monday Night Football, 1991. So if you do the math, historically speaking, the Steelers should win against the Dolphins. Wayne, I'll start with you. How do they actually beat the Dolphins, though?
Well, I think that as we talk about complimentary football, it's time for TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cole Holcomb, Nick Herbert. It's time for those guys. It's their turn. It's time to go hunting, guys. I don't know what season it is up there in Pittsburgh. Maybe
deer?
Both season, or but it is time to go.
It's Dolphin season this week.
Yeah, put your camouflage on, and it's time to go hunting for two. You played back-to-back weeks against mobile quarterbacks. Now you got a guy that he doesn't really want to run. He's going to throw that little short intermediate slant, which I can just see Cam Hayward tipping one up right now. Those kind of passes where our linebackers, outside linebackers, do a great job of reading and getting a lot of tip balls. So to me, it's time for the outside linebackers. I'm looking for that group to put 4 or 5 sacks up on the board on Monday night. I really feel like it's one of those kind of games where they need to go out and have one of those statistical nights and offensively stay aggressive, especially early. As I said, trying to control the clock, try to go on, you always want to score, but it would be nice to get those first 2 or 3 drives and it ends up being 8-10 plays where you're just dragging the game and you're keeping Tua and the rest of Waddle and those guys on the sideline. And it's one thing we didn't talk about. Are we going to talk about the Ramsey Fitzpatrick trade? I mean, we do have a little animosity going into this game, right?
Hey, let's dive in.
Let's go kind of attitude. Jalen Ramsey is going to try to put on a show now. He wants a pick. he might bust the coverage trying to get an interception. That's what I really feel like. He's going to be trying to make sure he has a football at home where he intercepted the Dolphins. So don't be mad if you see him like, why did he jump that route? I just feel like he's going to come out and be playing at that kind of tempo. And Fitzpatrick on the other side, knowing the defense, knowing a lot of these guys. So that rivalry is there. But I think that physical play by the Steelers will get them this victory.
Ben, are we concerned about Ramsey wanting to pick so badly that he'll jump coverage and that might cost them deep downfield? Because right when Wayne said that, I said to myself, smart football. Smart football, smart football, smart football. I just need smart football. It's not, I don't want Jalen to make it about Jalen versus Minka. I don't need it to be Jalen versus the Dolphins. It's the Steelers versus the Dolphins. Ben, how do you see that little linkage playing out in this Monday night game?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a fun storyline, but I think I look at more as the Jalen Ramsey in primetime here, man. Monday Night Football. This is as big as it gets in the sport, man. Everybody dreams of playing on Monday nights at home and in games in deep December. That means something, man. And that's what it's all about. And you want your primetime players to show up in primetime. And there's no doubt that Jalen Ramsey has that in the back of his mind, but I'm sure he'll play it off just like DK Metcalf did when they played the Seahawks, like Aaron Rodgers did when they played the Packers and then the Jets at the beginning of the season. But I think this matchup is a fun one because this is a real opportunity. Like Wayne mentioned, you're going to know where you're at, what needs to be done when you wake up Monday morning. The Cincinnati and Baltimore play on Sunday. Say Cincinnati gets that win hypothetically. You're looking at at that point. You're looking at if you go in there and beat the Dolphins, you're looking technically at a 2.5 game lead. Really, when you take into account the head-to-head right there, and if you're able to get a win over Miami, there's just a lot that you're able to put yourself in the driver's seat with that could really benefit you going into Monday. And even if the Ravens do beat Cincinnati, you still got to go out there and win the football game. And so it's especially against an AFC team that could also help you in tiebreakers if this wild card race gets a little murky. You don't know, like you mentioned, 44-year-old Phillip Rivers coming in for Indy. They're in trouble right now.
5 touchdowns for Phillip on Sunday. I mean, I just, what are we going to see from this guy?
Yeah. In Kansas City's down and out right now, man. And which is wild to see. And, but
wow, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, right. I was just about to say wild, but also I'm not mad at it. When you take it into consideration. So I think what the Steelers need to do is, I believe it was Tracy Wolfson who put it out on social media before the game on Sunday. She said that Aaron Rodgers told her that last week leading up to that Ravens game was their best week of practice. It was the attention to detail. It was they were putting everything together. People they understood the magnitude of the game. They were extra focused. Now it's about, okay, well, don't just make that just because it was Ravens week. See the benefits of having those sort of practices, putting that sort of work in, that attention to detail. See how it benefits you on Sunday. Now do it again this week. Like we talked about, just not that Ravens game not being a one-off. Actually create this momentum through December, and you're teed up for it. Like you mentioned, Tyler, they've won 22 straight home games on Monday Night Football. They're wearing Color Rush uniforms. It's the Hall of Honor game. You got Big Ben, Pouncey, and Peasy in the house. It's going to be a great Steelers crowd on Monday night. It's going to be cold. It's December. Miami's coming up north. This sets up everything for a vintage Pittsburgh Steelers football game. Now you have to go out and do it.
It also sets up, in my crazy head, man, what a perfect situation for the Steelers to lose. I just that is the Wayne. I know you're going to be like, oh, this guy.
Get him, Wayne. Get him, Wayne. And all this negativity here. All this negativity.
I really hope that's not the case, and I do think the Steelers will win. But all of those perfect situations, it scares me. It just scares me. And it scares the grandmas out there. I know my Grammy is thinking the same thing. So maybe that's just the environment that I grew up in. But hey, they know. You never go against your Grammy, okay? Guys, let's talk predictions. We got about 5 more minutes on the show here tonight. Steelers favored by field goal. Over-under is 43.5. It's going to be cold. You think the ground game is going to be utilized on both sides? Wayne, I'll start with you. How do you see this one shaking out?
I feel like the Steelers are going to come to play. I think they see a little green grass in front of them. Last time they were kind of in this situation a few games ago, they tricked off 2 or 3 losses where they could have seized the moment. This was right there when Lamar Jackson was out, and they could have put a little pace between them and the Ravens. I really believe they're going to come out and get physical with the Dolphins. I think the weather will play a part in this game. As much as people try to brush it off, it's something for the Dolphins to find themselves here in late in the season. The defensive line has to stop the run, and as I said, outside linebackers, to me, this has to be statistically as a group where they come home with 4 or 5 sacks. I will take the score and go with the Steelers 23-16 in this game.
All right, 23 for the Steelers in a victory. Ben, what say you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I alluded to it in the last time I spoke, man. This is a vintage Pittsburgh Steelers moment on Monday Night Football. I said it on Sunday as we were wrapping things up. Let's get ourselves a primetime victory this year, man. This sets up for a vintage Steelers defensive game. I could see the defense and or special teams getting in the end zone on Monday night. One of those games like Wayne mentioned, tip ball, boom, Nick Herbig, pick 6. So one of those sort of ordeals. Actually, it reminds me of the one game, I think it was 2 years ago when they played the Browns on Monday Night Football. First drive of the game, boom, Alex Highsmith, pick 6. That sort of ordeal, maybe setting the tone or deeper in the game, putting it away. I just think that this is a defensive sort of game, especially in the cold. I think they want to come out and make a statement, get in the backfield, get 2 on the ground. And also, I did mention the Hall of Honor, Big Ben going to be in the house. Coach T loves the challenge, and he puts a lot of it to the side. But you think Coach T didn't know what Ben said on his podcast a couple weeks ago? But, hey, maybe it's time for a split. Maybe it's time. And you don't think Coach T is going to look at him with a smirk on Monday night and say, bet, man. Yeah, I see you, 7. And I hear you, 7, and they're going to go out there and make a statement. And you saw it on Sunday with this team, and I could see it this one. This is, like you mentioned, it's a real big opportunity for them. I think the defense drives the ship. I think the offense continues to build. I think they look and they look good, and I think they continue to ride the momentum. I think Aaron Rodgers plays a solid game. They take advantage of the opportunity. It's complimentary football. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers making it 23 in a row at home on Monday Night Football, beating the Miami Dolphins 27-13.
Okay, 2 for the Steelers. Wayne is saying the Steelers will score 23 points, and I'm agreeing with Ben that the Steelers will get their 23rd straight home victory on Monday Night Football. I'm going 13-9. Cold, low scoring. I was going to say 11-10, but I'm like, that's just a little bit too crazy. Let's go 13-9. That's a little bit more realistic. We all have the Steelers winning. That would be great for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they do beat the Miami Dolphins. Week 15, a Monday Night Football matchup, 8:15 Eastern, Acrisure Stadium. Joe and Troy on the call. And it's been a fun one to preview here on this beautiful Wednesday night. A reminder, you can listen to the audio of tonight's show on the Locked On Steelers podcast channel. Christopher Carter was not able to join us here tonight. He's a busy man, okay? And it's a busy season, the holiday season. Hope everyone's gearing up for the holidays. Christopher Carter, that Locked On Steelers daily podcast. A reminder, you can listen Monday through Friday. We will be with you every Wednesday night and after every Steelers game. Throughout the season, you can listen wherever and however you podcast. And hey, Steelers Nation, like, subscribe. That helps us. That'll do it, though, for this Miami Dolphins Monday Night Football preview edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. For Ben Bobick and Wayne Gandy, who will be at the game on Monday night twirling that terrible towel, I'm Tyler Feldman saying good night, and here we go. We'll see you Monday right after the game.